This is Pastor Bakoshe again. It's nice to be with you, followers. It's nice to be with you, my listeners. I want to talk today on the issue of the 90-10 rule. The 90-10 rule is a derivative or is derived from the 80-20 rule. That very, very common understanding of this concept of the 80-20 rule. This is a principle that was discovered over 100 plus years ago. And what does this principle say, or what does this rule say, the 80-20 rule? What the 80-20 rule says is that a large chunk of whatever it is that you achieve in life is as a result of the contribution of a very little aspect of your life. Indeed, if we remember what psychiatrists will tell us or what psychologists will tell us, that we do not use much of our brain. Maybe 10% of our brain is what we utilize to achieve what we achieve. So it means that the greatest achievement that you have achieved in life is only 10% of your brain power that you utilize. So imagine channeling all that you need to do with 90% of your brain power. Then indeed you know that you're going to develop, or you're going to reap quantum of results. That's what it means. So the 90-10 rule is a derivative of the 80-20 rule. Now indeed, it is not a mathematical rule, because it does not matter. It must not add to 100. The 80 plus 20 must not add to 100. The 90 plus 10 must not add to 100. It may be 83 and 20. It may be 90 and 30. So whatever it is that you put into the basket that will give you the greatest yield is what we are referring to here as the 90-10 rule or the 80-20 rule. So to cut with proper examples, for instance, take the instance of what happens in life, in our significant relationships. Sometimes we blame others and say, this is the cause of my bad day. Or when you have a very bad day in the morning, maybe you said as you started to go to work, something happened at home, or somebody made you angry, maybe on the way to work and stuff like that. Now, what I'm trying to say to us in essence is this, from the 90-10 rule, that 10% of what happens, whatever happens in life, 10% contribute to it. But 90% of what happens to our lives depends on our own reactions, I would rather say on our own responses to those situations. So, with the current hardship in our country, what is our response to that situation? So the 90-10 rule says that 90% of whatever it is that we allow to happen to ourselves is in our control to take care of it. So when you decide now to tell yourself that I'm not going to get angry about situations, I'll rather look for solutions rather than complain. So in other words, when you rather look for solutions, you are beginning to think what Stevie Covey would refer to as you are beginning to move from the area of concern to the area of influence. How to influence your situation. What is happening today with the protestations that has started is that people have decided that we are not going to take a knee-jerk approach, but we are going to tackle the government so that we can level the power by protesting and telling the government that no, this and this and this are what we require. After all, there is this social contract that intellectuals often talk about, the social contract between the governed and the government. So the governor is saying, we have expectations of you, and this is what you need to do for us. Yes, that is part of the 90% of the outcome, of the outcome that the people require. So bringing it to a personal level, whatever it is that is happening around you, 90% is within your control. 10% is outside your control. It is outside our control when the price of petrol has gone up. It is outside our control when the price of food has gone up. But it is within our control to now begin to choose what to buy. Sometimes it means you may have to walk some distance. Sometimes it means you may have to change the kind of food you take. Sometimes it means you may decide to say, okay, instead of taking 110, I may choose to take 010. It's a choice. Even though it's a tough one, it's a choice. And after all, it may even make you much healthier. Am I trying to say that the difficulties, even the 10% of the difficulties that is happening around the environment, that it is a deserved cause, or that we should doff our hands and clap for those people who are causing the hardship? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you control what happens around you, how you respond to situation. Do not allow it to be like a stimulus and then you are reacting to it. Let it be that your response is an outcome-based response. OBR. Outcome-based response to your situation around you. And that is why the Bible draws our attention in Ephesians chapter 4 with regards to the issue of anger. It says, do not let anger have a foothold on you, be a stronghold in you. Because when you allow anger to be a stronghold in you, you will be sinning. And then the next verse, I think verse 19 tells us, chapter 4 verse 19 tells us, and says that the devil will not have a stronghold in you. You know, theologically we used to argue and said we will write assignment and say, can the devil possess a Christian, or can the devil have an influence a Christian? We'll say no and write all kinds of things. But in Ephesians chapter 4 verse 19, Paul is telling us that the devil can have a stronghold in a person as a result of anger. So you need to control that anger. And that is why he said, do not let the sun go down in your anger, because anger is a very strong emotion. Anger is a reaction to certain stimulus around us. So if we now take control, take power over that anger, we can be able to determine what we do. We can use that anger and channel it positively to looking for solutions to the challenge that we have in life. So 90% of what happens in the life of a person is in the control of the person. Only 10% happens. You can see that when somebody just gets angry, the rest of the day could be destructive to that person. The person might destroy relationship. It is out of anger that you see a husband who say rough things to his wife, or a wife will say rough things to her husband, or a father will say rough things to his children and curse his children. It's out of anger. But when we now control that anger, we can now be able to respond in love. And that is where the Bible wants us to be. That is the counter narrative that the Bible wants us to have. A 90% approach to our life. And now also, you can use this and then look at your life. What are those things that you find successful? Now, if you look at some of the things that you do that are very, very successful, you find out that some of the efforts you put are very, very minimal. And then where you put much effort, you don't get as much result. So what it's telling you now is that put back, bring out 90% of that effort that you're putting in less useful situations or less useful events that bring less useful outcomes, and put them in those areas that will bring you the greatest yield. So it's left for you to think through which are the areas of your life that you're seeing is bringing great support. Focus on it and you will have the greatest yield. Thank you, and may God bless us all.